This particular question was, hello all, I've run into a calibration integration twice, changed a few things. I can't seem to get rid of these weird artifacts. Never seen this problem before. Some of them are obvious, and so on and so forth. But that's not the problem here. So this image has a very particular look, and I would argue that anyone that has ever done comet imagery, where you align on the comet and not the stars, for example, and then you use image integration, you're hoping that the stars reject, but they never do reject entirely. That's what this is a picture of. This is a picture, anytime you see this kind of faded view, it almost looks like the object is there, but depending upon the dithering and tracking and all kinds of other things, I can say, just by looking at this image, that this data was not aligned. And it's a half-rejected integrated result is what we're looking at. We're looking at the average of only things that were not basically rejected, which is not that much information. Now, there's an additional problem. He's worried about the centers of stars, but that's not the big problem here. The problem is the alignment. And that problem, as it turns out, is another one of these elements that you can quickly identify very early on. And I'd like to show you an example here. now let's be sure I have everything here before I say. I have this thing here, and I think I have this thing here. Let me be sure before I say anything. This is a different thing. I want the M13 stuff. Here it is. So there was a person that went, again, on the forum, and he was complaining that he couldn't align the images. And he didn't understand why they wouldn't align. There were plenty of stars. This is a globular star cluster. Why wouldn't his images align was the question. And I'd like to address that here. So let me show you what star align here. So this person that had this problem, he also came at it as many starting people do, with not having any darks, any flats, any calibration at all. He just had light images, raw images. That's it, which is going to exacerbate the particular problem that I'm going to demonstrate here. So let me show you what one of his raw images looks like. Here's one of the raw images here. And if we zoom in, you can kind of see, now this has been debayered, as you can see here. You can see there are stars, but it's not very bright. And this is another thing that happens with CMOS cameras, is that people take very short exposures, and that lends itself, there's a consequence, it lends itself to other problems. Now, I know there's a philosophy that many people propose, which is that, these cameras don't have a lot of noise, short exposures are fine, blah, blah, blah. But there's a consequence that they don't mention. And that consequence is there are other issues that become more important when your exposures are short. And here's one of them. These little things, you see the little blips right there? Let's see if I can find a brighter one here, maybe. They don't look like much here. This thing right there, that's a hot pixel. Now, it doesn't look like much, but to the star detecting routine, it's a big deal. The way that star alignment works is that it's looking for what it thinks are stars. And if you can see a little red one there. And if you have these things that look like stars, doesn't confuse it. It actually tries to match on those things. And that only happens because these little hot pixels are brighter than the stars in the image themselves. So it's not a surprise that this becomes an issue. If you had a brighter image, a longer exposure, then the stars would have been brighter than the hot pixels, not so much of a problem. So by virtue of the fact you have a short exposure, you're going to want to get rid of hot pixels. The proponents of the short exposure, take a short exposure, take a short exposure. They never say, now also take care of hot pixels. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate. I'm going to just press the go button here. I'm going to align those images, using star alignment. And I want to show you the result because it is such an important result. When this person posted his question on the forum of circling what shows up here in the console. I'm filling time here once it aligns. There it is. You will see that it says star alignment succeeded. 5 images were aligned, 0 failed, right? But if you now go to the directory that I save these things in, which is TAIC, so I double click here. Well, let me get out the blink tool before I go double click anywhere. So now I'm going to blink those that were just created. Here they are. Now remember, the console said it was aligned. The console said it. PixInsight said they were aligned. They are not aligned. And they're not aligned because of the hot pixels. So now, if I remove this, I'm going to close this, I guess. And then now I have where I've gone through and I've used cosmetic correction as the process that gets rid of hot pixels. So you'll notice here in the file name now that it says CC for cosmetic correction, and then it's been debayered. That's all that's happened to this data. Now we will run it. This time it says the same answer here, that star alignment has succeeded, but now when we blink the result, we will see that it actually did succeed. Now I can either, I can do there are only 5 files here, so I can actually highlight them, or I can do my fancy star thing, doesn't matter. These are the ones that are aligned. You'll notice that they have the dash, the underscore R, so cosmetic correction, debayered, registered. So if I open up those, and now get this out of the way, zoom into here, get this out of the way, and blink, you will see that everything is aligned. Even though the stars are so dim and all of that, now that we've removed those hot pixels, even in this noisy data, the star alignment process can do its job.